Really, it was from school. When I was seven, 8, yeah. What happened was early days, you know, when it's like you're growing up, and we're just talking earlier about kids, and asking, can you fight him, can you fight it, you know what I mean? I'm a quiet person, right? And to be honest, I was always the person who went into to speak to people and they'd sort of like turn me back a little bit, yeah? So I never really made friends very easily in a sense because people didn't really bring me in, and sometimes it's because you're different, right? And then all of a sudden, because of that, I'm sort of like out with the lads who are not normally popular. I used to take a football with me and play football, and because people then start noticing you've got a skill, that was, oh right, we'll pick him. You understand what I mean? And to be honest, I'm looking back, that was it, because I had a so-called talent. I was always on the two sides. Normally, it's like when you walk up to people, a crowd for the first time, and that's what schools I was introduced from early on, and people already know one another because I was coming from Manchester, moved to Worksop. You understand what I mean? So all of a sudden, you're always the face, the new face. And at first, it's very hard when you're the new face. But thank goodness, you just got to school, you played with football. That showed a little bit of skills, and next minute they want to pick you on their side. The good thing about that is that also while I made friends with the people who weren't really in the group, because they were my friends, I was able to transcend to get them to all work together. And to be honest, that's really been my life. But the martial arts itself, it was a concept of playing football, and there was a lad who was an older year than me. Let's call him a little bit like a bully, cock of the school or whatever, right? He wasn't cock of the, but he was up there with it. And playing football, and he tripped me up. And as he tripped me up, big hole in my trousers, and you know what I mean? I was, because it was a foul, but it was a deliberate, and it was that, oh well, you know what I mean? At this point, I was going to back down. He attacked me first, but I got the better of him. Okay, and as I got the better of him, I see it now, of course. Even at the time when I was doing it, I saw it was a madness. But when you're young and everyone tells you that's the way you fight and this, that, and the other, I started banging his head on the floor. And as I started to bang his head on the floor, I was saying to him and myself, well, you was the one who picked on me, you was the one who started it, and so I'm justifying in one sense. And one of the teachers, a lady teacher, pulled me off him. Now at that point, I knew I was in trouble. And I'm looking and I'm going, and of course everything comes out. Miss, I didn't start it, I didn't do this, he did this, and so you get into that banter. And she just said calmly, I think this is what really changed. She said calmly, she says, no. She says, look what you was doing. So I'm still going, well, miss, he did this and this. But at the time, you know you're wrong. And she says, okay, well, listen, I'm going to sort this young lad. You wait for me at the headmaster's office. And of course I'm thinking, oh, I'm in trouble now. And so I'm waiting, and it seemed like years, you know what I mean? So I'm waiting, and as I'm waiting, the lady teacher came up, and she started to speak to me in a calm way. You understand what I mean? And it was in a calm way that actually I was in trouble, but I wasn't in a sense. And she explained, and as she was explaining that you can't do that in a fight, of course you can't. But when you're with your friends, it's like hit them before, that's the concept, that's what even from that age. They're saying, you got it there before, don't let anyone push you back, whatever. My parents never really said it like that. My mum, she never said it like that. But I'm saying that when you're with your friends, and big hole in the trousers, knee, and you know what I mean? So I would say I was angry. and through that, I knew it was wrong, but still I was justifying that I was right. But then automatically, hearing about martial arts, and that's fascinating to say that a bit like Robin Hood, doing right, you know what I mean? Fighting but still doing right. And that was fascinating more than, because I'm thinking to myself, how, in the heat of the moment, when someone does something like that to you, how do you actually stop? Because in the West, it's about being tough. It really is about being tough and being that big, looking up and trying to fit in with the bigger lads. So I had to rethink, I had to actually stick up for myself, but do it the right way. And for a while, I couldn't fight. For a while, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't, you know what I mean? Because you just don't, it's wrong. You've got people picking on you. And of course, unfortunately, because of my colour and things like that, people love you. You understand me? So I had all that concept. yeah? And every time I went home, that was the key thing. It was in the morning, brush your teeth, clone gear, do all the stuff, clean up. We had to clean, we had to do all those different things, but there was always a smile there, but there was discipline, there was a certain strictness, be in and all the other stuff. And for me, that was what martial arts meant to me. You know what I mean? There's a structure of way. And moving many years later, well, before what happened, Auntie came to live with us and she was 13 and I must have been like 8 or 9. And we were from Manchester, living in Worksop. I could fight, never bullied anyone, but I could look after myself. So could my older brother and things like that. But we always seemed to be so friendly with people that, you know, you don't really have. But then my auntie was saying how bad the Manchester lads are, you know what I mean? They can fight and they can do, and even the girls, you know what I mean? Oh, even the girls. And it sort of like took me back a bit. And it took me a while, because we moved to Manchester in Moss Side. And what I can say about Moss, and this is what I think, what people don't realise, with Moss Side, everybody knew everyone. I mean, I could live here and go all the way over there, and someone would report me if I was out of order. You understand what I mean? It doesn't matter who it was Irish, Scottish, there was a mixture, but what it boiled down to, kids had to be known what was right and wrong, because someone was going to tell either uncle, auntie, or whatever. So you couldn't heart on the street and just get away with anything, even though kids do the wrong things. Bang, you get home and you realise, oh, they already know before you even reach there, and it's going to be, you know what I mean? So to me, it was a combination of right and wrong, and that is what I saw in martial arts. You know, you have a positive mind, which actually, for me, all I can say is that martial arts, I'm being attacked, I defend myself, I can look after the person who's attacking me. That to me is better than me just grabbing hold of someone and banging someone's head. And as I, being young, I'm going, well, how do people disengage that? How do you actually justify, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you have a right to a certain, but then you turn it round. And you turn it round to look after someone who's attacked you. Now, I believe in stories, okay? The concept when we're very young, everything has to be right. Everything. You know, you're in the land of giants, you're looking up, everyone's big, chairs are big, teachers, everyone's big. If you remember back in the day, it was a giant time. And I think, whoa, this is like the stories we have read. You know, about riding hooding up. It's a dangerous situation for the cars, you know what I mean? So there's got to be a concept of way. And the concept of way I always saw was listening. Because when people are telling you, advising, when you're a kid, but it's best to listen. And I think that's where I saw the comparison with the martial arts. I saw an intermingle and a change of people who would normally have their differences, first learning to defend themselves, all being tough and that lot, and getting some Eastern concept. You understand what I mean? So all of a sudden, as I see it, you had the black, you had the white, you had Scottish, and then now you had the yellow. You understand what I mean? And the only time I only saw someone who was a different colour, yellow or whatever, is from a Chinese shop or, you know, an Indian, you know, so the mixture, you had certain people, had certain things. You understand what I mean? And I grew up back in the 68, and, you know, when things were changing in America. And that made a massive impact. The main thing was to do things right. And that's why I think I decided I wanted to do martial arts. Because I find that young men have nervous breakdowns. Even that age, you hear that, you know, in their teens, they lose it, this and the other. And it's not easy out there. So what do? You either go to religion, or, for me, I needed to know how to defend myself, but without hurting somebody as well, and then hurting myself. So I think martial arts, I started at an early age, but very first time I actually got to actually practice it was when I was 13. And I moved from Manchester to Sale, okay? I was a good dancer. Being young, you know, in parties, you know, I say I was a good dancer, you know, I say I was a good dancer. But there was a point where any music, My Boy Lollipop and things like that back in the day, you know, I'm there dancing, and every time we used to go to parties with my brother, we used to dance, and, you know, they would give us 5 bob or 10 shillings 40 times. They'd give something like that. But I think that was it. Martial arts and rhythm. I saw the two, and everyone does say martial arts is dance. You know what I mean? I like the way you literally don't put yourself forward. You know what I mean? I like the way you can just be in the background and not have to say, I'm here. But yet, in a situation like what happened to me now, when I was younger, I definitely needed to know the right way. Like being a doctor, you know, how to heal someone, you've got to study. And that's what they seem to say what martial art does, whether it was karate, kung fu, whatever. And, you know, I'm just amazed saying to myself, how would that person handle it different? That was the main thing, because I'm a young lad growing up, and he was doing wrong, teacher told me off, you understand me? But I didn't start the fight, you understand me? So I'm thinking, well, how do you actually, sore knee, get angry, how do you actually stop that from happening? You understand me? And it seemed to be that the martial way, the concept of mind was the main thing, that you hear that these people just walk away, or they defend themselves, and when they defend themselves, they look after. I think we've gone over the top, because I'm hearing people saying that they see red and they see that. Well, I don't want to be a mad person. You know what I mean? To me, it was never about me being crazy, and truthfully, it was never about me hurting anyone. You know, that's my nature. I don't go out there to hurt anybody. But unfortunately, when you've got a nice nature, pleasant nature, you get bullies. And as I said to myself, how do I fight back in a positive way, you know, where I can hold my head up? What happened with me is role models. My first instructor was doing judo, called Dave Glebe, and his instructor was called, we call him Mr. Best, call him Mr. Best. And he was blue belt at judo. And there was me, my great friend Pele and Patrick, and used to be in a dance group, you see. So the dance group also did the judo, and we had great friends in sail. Now, what happened was, this gentleman, there was the mat there, he did one fantastic demonstration with us. And the main thing, as we know, the floor is hard. He taught us how something hard can then be turned into soft, because normally when you slip or fall, you know, especially in the UK when at that time it was ice and you slip, you're putting your arm down, you're going to hurt yourself. And all that was being explained in that split second where normally you are going to hurt yourself, you learn to defend yourself. And because judo was called the gentle way, right, from a concept that was turned into a sport which has come from jiu-jitsu, there's a mixture of a good way, because the gentle way is the concept that you can now defend yourself and look after the person. And that's, as I said, that's what was fascinating me, because we all can fight. You know what I mean? And we all can fight, and when you can fight, you want to beat somebody else up. And I'm going, well, no, I'll be honest, that's not my nature. But I realised when I come into the storm, I need to be able to diffuse it. The powers of the martial arts does work. I see many people who are very good at what they do. But really, you've got to be honest with the system. It's not it's like even me. It's not me. It's the system I practice. You know, if I give you a drink of tea, you ask for tea, and I give you coffee. It's what I put into that. You go, oh, it's not the same thing. It's not what I wanted. You understand what I mean? And that to me is what martial arts. But I'm seeing people claiming that they're this, they're that, and the other. And I'm going to myself, hold on. It's a system which we saw. I saw what it did. I saw how it could help me, improve me, and I saw how it could defend me. Because my mind was, how do you defend yourself when you don't initiate the fight and you get the better of the person and then you go over the top? I'm thinking, well, how can you not go? Because you, again, justify me banging his head on the floor was, I didn't start it, was not looking for trouble, and all these different things did not make sense really, because I already knew I was doing wrong. Okay? It's very hard when you're that young. You understand me? We're looking up and you try to be big. You know, it's like, oh, I want to be that big, I want to be this. So there's a lot of peer pressures. And who do you listen? We tend to listen to our people who are closer to our area, not the adults. We act good. Great. You know, I'm the best. I used to be in the choir, actually. Yeah? We act good. Yeah? So that was a concept. I knew how to pretend. But when you are yourself, who do you pretend to? So, even at an early age, it's about the mind. That mental side, which I went, you know what, and I'm hearing that young men have breakdowns. It's just like, oh, when you get a certain teenagers, you know, testosterone, and they have breakdowns, where girls don't seem to have that break. I know they do suffer, but not the same way. Girls can cry. You understand? Girls can actually show softer side, and more. Now girls can also show the man side, because at the end of the day, these can punch and kick. You understand? You get that concept, but they really come from a honest way. The caring, the nurturing, and things like that. That's why we love them. And one thing I've got to say about women, though, love them to bits, but you've got to remember it's one of our ribs, right? If the Adam and Eve story is right, which has made something so beautiful as you, ladies, right? For us to actually make sure you tell us what time to come in, what to wear, you know what I mean? It's that way. So even though you may say, oh, I do everything for the male side of it, remember, it's one of our ribs which made a beautiful lady like yourself, which has given us an opportunity. That's the martial arts. It's how you apply and how you use. Humour is the main thing. Everyone likes laughing. I think that's why I got into Thai. First, it was like, these guys fight and they smile. I'm thinking, whoa, these must be sick people. Get it? You know, you're going to punch someone knees with elbow. And I'm thinking, so, ooh. Because the only people I know who smile when they're in a fight are those ones who just seem to have lost something. You understand what I mean? The faculties. Thai was the hardest sport. Now it's a full contact, because karate, kung fu, I did. Boxing, I did. Judo, I did. Thai was like, are you mad? Yeah, you do Thai boxing? What? Yeah, well, knee to the face. And when you see it from a Western concept, yeah, definitely mad. Definitely, you got a screw loose, right? I even got a book back in the day, and I wanted to do karate, get me black belt, white suit. Thai boxing was shorts, boxing gloves, and this funny thing which you wear on the head, and plus it had funny music. So it was not a fashion statement. I was into OJs and soul. This music you could not dance to. You understand what I mean? And not only that, when you played it, everyone laughed. You know, your friends, you know, I do Thai boxing, they're laughing at you because you've got short, skinny legs, right? You was talking about skinny legs, t-shirt, and you're doing this. Right, where back in the day when you're fighting, you're boxing and you're doing all, and it's sharp. Bruce Lee, very sharp. You want to be like Bruce Lee. You understand what I mean? So there was a mind shift there, because I'm thinking, do I want to do a system which I'm being laughed at? I'm thinking, whoa, and they did laugh. We went. Fortunately, it was the 4 Thai masters who first come over here, which I met. Master Corinne, Master Woody, which are brothers. Master Sken, who's the famous Master Sken. These two are famous, and of course, Great Master Tony, right? And I'm watching them going up and down the country doing demonstrations, and their students were fantastic. You know, you're talking about everybody who was there. There was a person, a young lad, was Steve called this, it was this big. You know what I mean? He was this big, and this guy could kick and punch and knee and do everything. And there was girls, and then there was parents, and every one of them, you go, wow. And I think that's what the martial arts is. It's that wow factor. Watching Bruce Lee, instantly you go, wow, and then you want to do. But it's done, it's delivered in the right way. It was delivered to me with a smile and friendliness. The Thai ways, you bow, you show respect and everything like that. It was down my street. I was not doing this madman concept. I wasn't doing this concept where, oh, I can fight. I'm the first one. Should I tell all my students I'm the first one who, you know, when it kicks off, I've gone. You won't catch me. I've ran. Yeah? They say, where's Ronnie? Ronnie's gone. Yeah? I'm not interested. But one thing I will say, if I ran into a corner, can't get out, then I turn around, that's what gives me a fighting chance. You know what I mean? That to me is a truthful way. Because we can all walk around like 10 men. I know there's people out there better. There will always be people better. But that's where my mind goes, right, that's what I have to defend against. People who are better than me, not the ones who, in a sense, I can fight. I watch people picking and choosing certain people, so they think, and sometimes that person they chose is a lot better than what they thought. You know what I mean? So a lot in the martial arts is a mind game. And the mind game to me is how I actually respond in my home, on the streets, in the school. It's consistent. I'm not you will not see me changing. The one thing which I said at the beginning, I was always the one who was on his own first. Same with the martial arts. I walked into places by myself, okay, as a stranger. But as a stranger, instantly, you've got people who train. And there's that pecking order. And I got to the top. without me actually saying anything. I was delivering good technique. I learned to defend myself. People would say, stand still, we can't hit you, stand still. And I'm thinking, well, no, you've got to work to hit me. If you're going to put one finger on me, you've got to work. And that's what the art is all about. It's about being able to move away from danger rather than engage it, because mental illness kills. Whether it's yourself or someone else, you know what I mean? It's an accident, but realistically, like all accidents, there's also a prevention. And if we apply the prevention first, which I believe the martial arts is always about, I call it madman's attitude. When you was at school, it is that mad, you're walking around with the lad who tripped me up. It was the madman's attitude. I didn't start it, but I got into that. How do you change a young person, from Mossad, which I love the place. See, I don't talk about it, right? The reason why I don't talk about Mossad, it's only the first time. Because most people want to make it notorious Mossad. I don't want to be talking about, because I grew up with very, very good people. You understand what I mean? And people who had respect. The thing is, like anything, you have to have respect in that area. You understand what I mean? And if it wasn't for me being in that area with my mum, with my gran, which family's a big name, they used to call me Granddad Daddy Rose and my mum Mother Rose, but it was a good concept. You understand what I mean? And that's what brought me up from being young all the way through to see what do we choose in life. And martial arts was the best thing, because it wasn't and it isn't about fighting. There's programs, there's modules of way, even cooking's in there, healing's in there, there's so much, and then the social skill. And I think that's what we're missing. Everyone's trying to say, I'm not. It's the system that is. But the system now, like Michael Jackson has given me a name. Think of music, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley. Think of martial arts, Bruce Lee. But without all these systems, they're not going to work. You understand what I mean? I'm just another person. If you don't know what I've done, I'm just another person, as I know I am. The only thing is I've got a bit of an advantage, because I'm in something which people respect. Don't know me. I walk up and down, oh, that's Ronnie Green. Don't know the person. But you know what? The greetings which I got through doing the match from strangers. I'll tell you a story again, going back to my side. Because at junior school, what you've got is the police come in. Very friendly, very jolly. They're telling you to make sure you cross the road properly. And you've got so many advice. There's two roads. There's Princess Road and Alexander Road. Okay, in Alexander Road, they had a shop called Woolworths, which we know it's now no longer there. It was Woolworths. And I'm walking down the main road with my friends. And I see two police officers, okay, walking towards me. So I thought, because the police have come in, and I thought, great. Now I'm going to be able to say hello to the police officer. And unfortunately, the response what I got back was not a positive response. You understand me? It began with the N-word, and it was like, wow. Because all of a sudden, I went, wow. Because just been in school, talking about, here's me being... Now, straight away, I could have then gone, I hate. Straight away, I could have gone, I hate, right? I have to say, this is my mum, because the concept, she's very, very strong, but also she's very forgiving at the same time. You know what I mean? And then that was the concept. You've got to have a balance. You know what I mean? Some people say, I hate this, and I hate that, and I hate this. The concept of not liking something and then getting to like something is always a possibility. I had someone who was looking out for me, showing me I became who I became because the martial arts took me to that next place. And that next place, really, thank goodness, was a peaceful place. Don't need to show off. There will be people along the way who will do just as well as me or even better, but that's the system. Just look at Usain Bolt. You know what I mean? And before, don't forget, he was not winning races. He was not winning races, but he practiced this technique. And I always thought to myself, actually, someone that big, because it's like we're all different sizes, someone that big should be able to run fast. Most of the guys who were that big, or girls, couldn't catch you, because they were sort of like too gangly. You know what I mean? Because you're thinking, it's got longer legs than you. I shut off, and the girls couldn't catch me, the lads couldn't catch me because they couldn't run. So someone like Usain Bolt to do what he's done has to be technique and way. And that's where we all are at this particular moment. It's about ways. If we can get people to understand that the martial arts is never going to be about fighting. Okay? It's going to, for me, it's about when you're in a situation which you shouldn't be in, there's a safety net there which will protect you. Whether you defend or you strike, there's a mixture of mind. My mind daily is a kind mind, a happy mind. I'm not looking for any problems at all. People make points, oh, that's Ronnie Green, but truthfully, I never even did it for that. Because I believe if you stood on the corner for years, and years, and years, and years, what's going to happen? You know, I'm stood outside Manchester Piccadilly for 10 years, 20 years, I'm going to become famous. Because people are going to say, oh, he's been there. But if you ask me, do I know the area? Truthfully, I'm not going to know. I can pretend. And that's what I see with martial arts. You can pretend because you've stood in the same place for such a long time. How are you going to judge that that person knows? I know I can pick and choose who I can fight. And generally the people who I'm picking to choose are going to be that big, you know what I mean, can't run fast, probably can't even lift up anything. Get it? That's the people I'm going to pick and choose. But I'm saying that, I know the people who are going to pick and choose me are going to be this like, so I've got to learn to defend myself. First, they've got to run, they've got to try and catch me. Secondly, they put me in a situation where I have to turn around now, protect myself. I will do it at my best. Just like Monday's always going to be Monday, but you never know what your Monday's going to be like. That's life, that's the way of living, and I think that's where martial arts can bring something forward. That's what education does. But we need to change the whole concept of, do you know who I am? I've seen many people have said that and not done anything. You might as well be a bus driver on the bus, not taking anyone anywhere. What we do with education is free to be able to pass it on to benefit each generation. We're in the best place now. I mean, let's look at the caveman to now. Look at me, I'm dressed. Got a shirt, you know what I mean? I was able, thank goodness, not to walk down here. Could you imagine me? I mean, I wouldn't have been here. You know what I mean? So we are in the best position ever. People are saying we're having it hard. We are not having it hard. Just a change of mind. You know what I mean? It's amazing. They, oh, can't change my mind. Well, we've sent people to the moon. We've done so many fantastic diseases. We've healed them. We can't change our mind. There's a concept of selfishness, and that's the only thing. You know, you're selfish. Right? I never hurt people because when I was better, why do I need to hit you? You understand what I mean? The idea of the art is to have the mind, to do the right thing, especially when you're in the so-called privileged position, which I'm in, you know, I mean, Ronnie Green 5,000 champion, everyone goes, oh, right, privileged position. But then I'm not going to take advantage. You know why? I don't like it. Right? I've had people step on my toe and I've gone sorry. I've had people know my story. I'm the nicest person you could ever want to meet, and that's me. But as I say, the main factor is, that's what made me do martial arts. I wanted to be who I am. Not 1 minute, I'm there, and everything, you understand me? And then I have my own mental problems, because I'm going to say, well, who am I? I know what I pretended to be. When you can look at the mirror and look at you and say, you know what, I love myself. Even with the pimples, and even with whatever. That's what martial arts can deliver you to. It can tell you the truth in such a way that you don't have to push your chest out. You don't have to be anybody except yourself. That's really where I'm coming from. I've set up so many different organisations. If people will see, I've been all over the place. All over the place. All the top organisations. Watched them, sat with them. Because sometimes if you're going to know something, you've got to be there. Never want to control, because I can't control it. Even my own body, which I have to use, when I pass away, I'm not going to have it. I would have changed the face, and you know what I mean, if I could have picked it. Oh, Ronnie Green, boom. I know what I would have picked, right? But the concept is, I'm happy to have what I've got. But the main thing what no one will ever take away from me is my mind. That is mine, okay? And the main thing about that, that's what I'm saying with martial arts, the yin and the yang, the right and the wrong. And then there's the grey area. Don't get me wrong, there have been times when I've thought about bad things. You know what I mean? Oh, right, do I take that purse? Do I do that? Do I do that? The other factor is, I don't want to let my mum down. Don't want to let certain people down, which plays a big part. That's like watching someone who you respect in the martial arts game. The 4-time masters, they gave me something, and also most of the top British martial arts names, I either know them, trained with them, or saw them doing the demonstration. That to me is a gift. When you have that, where the yin, which is smile, and tide, smile. In the fight, I don't now need to be angry, I don't need to be mad, I don't need to be anything except myself. And I think that's where we need to put the program to. Honesty. If you don't know who I am, no problem, I'll meet you, greet you. I'm not going to push, I'm Ronnie Green, 5-time world champion, because realistically, that's what I achieved, but that's not Ronnie Green. Most people know of me of that, but I've got my own friends who know me growing up and things like that. And you know, what I've achieved, I am over the moon, I'm proud, whatever, but yet I will always be myself, because I asked myself, did I want to fight? Come on, I'm joking. I want to fight, Jordan. You know, you ask yourself, do you want to fight? And I'm going, no, are you mad? I wanted to dance. I wanted to dance and sing. You know, so, you know what I mean? I'm a dancer, not a fighter. But it was funny, it's the rhythm. When you do martial arts, it's a rhythm, and it's a rhythm of peace rather than, you know, because there's that part in Enter Dragon with Smooth Criminal, and the, you know what I mean? And I'm going, well, it's a different blend. So once you've got the nothingness, just sit here, do nothing at all, and be happy. That's it. Don't have to do anything. Just sit here, just meditate. Be part and parcel of the oneness. As that clock ticks, boom, the hour goes, you don't have to do anything. But your mind travels through so many different things. I mean, I went to Jamaica, thank goodness, to see where my mum came from. You know what I mean? But my mind travels back over there when I went to London. So we are travellers, but we're not travellers just with the body, we're travellers with the mind. Because once we get there, generally with the physical side, like me coming up here today, thinking, oh, I'm going to get lost. Yeah? You know what I mean? York, I'm like, this young, love the place, beautiful place, but am I going to find it? So by the time I arrived, I was already here, right, mind-wise, but then I have to catch up with the body. And then I've got to think, right, how do I find Jeff? How do I actually work with Jeff? Is he going to be there? Where's the train station? So there's a lot of solving going on. Thank goodness everyone who I asked gave me a smile. Sort of like was very receptive. Now that is a gift. That's why I say, you know, they were so receptive that I'm thinking to myself, wow. When you meet strangers who give you a smile and give you advice. It's not always a close person you know. Oh, people say, oh, he's never done anything for me, never done anything. It's not that. Life is a gift in itself, but there's so many other gifts which you won't recognize as a gift. But as I say, look where we are today. Yes, you have to pay for things, but that's the only way where we all have an opportunity to have. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have money. Those who did have would be able to say, well, you're not having anything at all. So what have you got? So basically, barterhood. We're in such a special place. Most countries are always coming through UK. It's because of a development of a good way. And all I'm seeing with martial arts, it's another way to make martial arts. Let's make our streets our dojo. Let's apply it that way, because I know most of the keeping me, you know what I mean? You come into the dojo, you take your shoes off, you bow, you do all those different things, right? Which in a sense, that's what I did at home. You know what I mean? And it was a case of cleaning up at the same time when you pick up on. So there's a program there of a good way. We are now the martial artists. Before Bruce Lee, there was Westerners doing it, but it wasn't like it is now. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone knows somebody who does martial art, and everyone says, oh, it's great, it's fantastic. But I'm thinking, well, okay, if it's great and fantastic, why aren't you pushing it out there on the streets? I do Thai boxing, the Japanese, but I'm not going to be Japanese, I'm not going to be Thai. What I'm looking at is how can I make my streets better? How do I develop what I've learned from this word respect? And it's never been for me, you must respect me. It's me to respect myself, to do the right things. Yeah, I'm a champion, but not a champion to put over on anybody else. The mental prowess means that we all can achieve all different levels. You know what I mean? Girls, fantastic, especially. You know what I mean? You know what it's like, boys and girls. Us boys, so masculine and this, that and the other. Girls in the arts, the way they perform and move like cats, like a cheetah, and we go, wow, because most of the lads are so cumbersome. You know, it's like, where the girls are so streamlined. So this is where the yin and yang comes in. It's a balance. Why we wear shoes. The soft part of the foot is soft. So we had to put something on. Now, people say, oh, no one's giving me anything. But I think we say, well, someone's developed that. Even medicine. Like everyone said, that selfishness, no one's giving me anything in life. No one's giving me anything in life. But look what we've got. I didn't even have to think about really building a car for myself. Yes, I have to pay for it. You know what I mean? And even food, look at the time. There's certain times designated that we all eat. Every one of us. You know what I mean? No one in the UK really needs to starve. That's why I'm saying, that's why everybody wants to be here. I'm glad I'm here, right? I'm glad. Went to Jamaica, fantastic. It was like, you know, when you talk about paradise, when you talk about Adam and Eve, I went, wow. But life is stories. And hopefully the good stories are the ones which we should all be following. Martial arts have got a positive story. And for me, I'm saying, well, it's not me. It's not about me. It's about what I found myself involved in, which helped me to balance things out. To know what is right, what is wrong. You know, I'm just as selfish as everybody else. The only difference is, when I look at it and go, oh, right, from my own way, I think, oh, that's not right. And, you know, I'm the one who cries, you know, complains. You can't do that to me. You know what I mean? And you can't, and I think to myself, that's what everyone seems to say. You can't do that to me, but yet they're the first one to do it to you. And I'm going, well, what's going on here? The word for me is selfishness. The arts is not selfish. That's what I love about the martial arts. There's no selfishness there. It takes me, I'm practicing, I'm great. I am great. Kick, punch, knee, I'm fantastic. But it's only because the art has said if I did it this way and this way and this way and this way, I could do it. For the Thais, the Japanese and all the other stuff. Now, it wasn't about being tough, because I'm not stupid. It was not about me going, oh, I'm tougher than, forget the toughness. It was the soft side, when I saw the danger coming, how, explained, perform it. Because I'm going to have the same fear as you. I don't care what. As much as you call me, yeah, I'll be training longer than you, I will still have the same fear as you. Someone come into the door, doors open, and all of a sudden there's 3 blokes with bats there. I'm sorry, I'm going to push you in front and I'm running. Okay, so that's to me is the concept. Survival first. Once you begin to understand survival, which is moving out of the way, when that person strikes and misses you, because everyone used to say, you're always moving. You're always moving. And I'm thinking, are you mad? Do you think I'm going to stand still and let you punch me? And there was guys these big, and they, you know, you could see them. Frustration. Oh, stand still and fight like a man. I'm going, no, I'm not stupid. I'll fight like a girl then. You know what I mean? I'm okay, because girls are smart. They can put the combination together. So forget the macho rubbish. Don't tell me to stand there and see if you can take it. The guy sounds like this. I'm sort of like this. And the guy's trying to sort of like entice me. I'm not stupid. That's what the art allows you to do, to actually look at it and go and analyze it. And the greatest thing you could ever be is a great person. Not for other people, but just for yourself. That's really what we all should be working for. That you can say, you know what, I like yourself. I've made mistakes. You know, I think, oh my goodness, I was taken there. But that's what life teaches you. I'm not bitter. You know what I mean? I'm angry, not bitter. It's a part and parcel when you're angry. How do you actually develop that next step? There's been a few things going on in my life. Mum's not been well. There's been a few things which actually, when I look on the news, I look in the papers, and unfortunately what happens where these people then go off the rail. And then they go and actually sort of like kill people, shoot people, whatever. Unfortunately, I'm saying, well, that's me, unfortunately. Because I'm thinking, that if you look at it, they were the nicest people ever, the nicest people ever, the nicest people ever. I'm hearing this. Everyone who's done because the ones who've been bad or whatever, they don't do it. But the ones who wouldn't even say boo to, now my main thing with the martial arts is the mental health. That's the key thing. It's all right doing all this, yeah? The movement outside isn't what it's all about inside. The body inside, we have no control, whether it's heart beating, whether it's a mind, we have no control at all. And even till we would say we've got control, but you know, when you sleep, your hand just goes like that, you've got no control over it, it just happens. But that's where the mystique of martial art takes you to the unknown with the known. You're doing this, I practice, and then I get to the point where my instructor has told me in advance what will happen. And then you begin to feel it. That's what it's all about. And peace has to be part and parcel. I can be angry. It's like me sitting there going and threatening people. And so, first thing, yeah, I can fight. Second thing, everyone knows my history. You understand what I mean? So of course, build that up, it can be frightening. You know what I mean? And then I've done Thai boxing, where your elbow to the head, knee to the face, craziness. So I can push Thai that way, but it's not my way. When I went to Thailand, couldn't have met the most nicest, friendliest, kindest people. You know what I mean? Which was doing this art, which we over here goes, they're crazy. They are crazy. They stand there and they kick one another. What I have to say, I'm sorry to say to the Thai people, right? Because everyone who's learnt Muay Thai and come back and still never shown the art the way it's supposed to do. What they've done, they've come back and oh, I can elbow and knee, and they become, because the system, like anything, it works. It really does work. But no one brings the kindness back. That's what, in a sense, for the camps, you couldn't meet nicer, skillful, honest people. On the streets, the same thing. There's danger there, don't get me wrong, because they have crocodiles and, and alligators and things like that. Well, they don't really, but crocodiles, right? But the thing is that it's dangerous. Crossing the road, whatever. But the first thing you will get every time is a smile and a greet and welcoming. Unfortunately, on us, we can abuse. Because we think it's, as I say, especially over there. There's the lads who can be the world champions in boxing and everything like that. They ain't going to beat you up. This is where I'm saying, if we're going to promote Muay Thai, let's promote it like the Thai people who really can live outside on anywhere. We can promote it into streets in a positive way. Because it's not about knees and elbow. It's about being responsible. I think with that, that's what I am looking to do. Because I owe it to them. Because they never stole from me. They never bullied me. They never did what would normally happen over here and say, oh, it's acceptable. It's not acceptable. It cannot be. You cannot keep saying it's acceptable. It's not. And those who've gone out and travelled in China and trained in China and all the Eastern countries and come back and they said, this is who I am, I'm saying, well, look, it's made you a name. It's give you a reputation, but it's not who you are. You understand what I mean? What we have to show is, A, who we are, look back at our streets, explain it in such a way that it's in our hands to develop it, that the R word becomes the main thing. Respect yourself, respect other people, the fighting arts. It's not MMA. Even though, I'll be honest, if MMA was around when I first started, I would have done it. You understand what I mean? I came from a judo background, did the boxing, you're talking about what Bruce Lee's theory was. But the key thing is you've got to look at Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. They were people. They didn't like people who other people would put down. You understand what I mean? When you put them down, they're going, oh, hey, you can't do that. Whether it was black, white, or yellow, it didn't make any difference. Their morals was the key thing. That's why I loved them. The skill was fantastic, but it's about the morals. I can be a nice person because the people I'm following, thank goodness, are nice people. I met Mike Tyson, fortunate to meet Mike Tyson. One of the nicest guys to meet. But if we push it in the Western way, they want animals. They want to say, well, you know what I mean? It's like what they did with Sonny Liston. And the fighters who are doing that are going to have a bad exchange, because once the mind has not been calmed down, it's got to be like quiet, it's got to be, it's not calmed down, it's just rage, you've got nowhere to escape. And as I said at the beginning, us men who have the breakdowns, because we fall from a great height. We don't know how to be soft in a sense, because soft is weak. Yin and yang in martial arts is a concept, right? In Thai they go bow bow, which is soft, bow, light sparring. That's what we need. Those who've been doing it needs to be pushing that forward. Yes, we can kick hard. Of course I can kick hard. Yes, I can do, it's like, oh, at school, oh yeah, I can do it. But I would not truthfully be able to do it if it was for the art and also the way. And if it was done in that bully way, there's no way Ronnie Green would have been even taking part in it. I just want to show the honesty. And the only way I can show the honesty is point at the Thai people themselves. Because I'm sorry, the people who've gone over there and learned it have not shown it in the true way. It's just they put themselves forward. So it's like me saying, oh, I'm 5-time world champion, I've done this, I've done that. I would not be able to do it if it wasn't for the art. And that's better than me saying, you couldn't do it. Every one of us can do it, especially when you've got a good teacher in front of you who's willing to be patient, willing to show you when you make mistakes. That mistakes are part and parcel of life. You understand what I mean? He's not going to go, oh, you did it wrong. He's going to go, okay, no problem. That's one mistake. That's right. That's a mistake. That's right. That's it. I've been hit on the nose. You know what I mean? It hurt. Get it? Been kicked in the ribs. It hurts. I made my mistakes. I fell on the floor. I've made my mistakes. What the advice I got while I was making the mistakes, there wasn't the person laughing at me. You know, sometimes it's like, well, jump, drop, serves you right. There was not that maliciousness. And that's what we need removing from the Western concept. These guys are tough. They are tough. They are dangerous. Like a knife in the kitchen is going to be dangerous. Hot water in the kitchen is going to be dangerous. Everything what you do in the kitchen is dangerous. But yet you go in that kitchen to feed you, you're happy. As long as you're not taking it too, so you don't cut yourself or anything like that, you're in a dangerous place. Home is a dangerous place. But look, don't even think about it. That's what martial arts is. The instructor has taken away that, oh, I'm going to cut you with the knife, or you understand what I mean? Take that away. And all of a sudden you're just like, oh, right, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, boom. It's like, it's one with mind. I can smile. I can get on with people. And unfortunately, as you know, when you're smiling at old people, someone's looking at you thinking, oh, right, easy vulnerable. Because most of the time I'm like, no, walking around. You understand what I mean? The main thing what martial art does is the mind. I can kick, I can punch, I can do everything like that. I don't do it in the living room. You understand what I mean? But I think, oh, I want to go get a drink. Oh, I want to go out. So my mind just functions anyway. I'm not a martial artist 24 hours. But my wife would say, oh, martial arts, yeah? But what I try to do is use that concept of way. You know what I mean? It's funny, I'm making a Jackie Chan style, making a cup of tea. And I pick up the tea bag and I go, oh, that's technique. And I put it in and then I start stirring. And then all of a sudden, I become aware of what I do naturally as the art. Because when you're training, the first thing when I was doing karate, right, the first thing you're learning is that. So I'm going, well, what's it that? You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing. And I'm going, wow. And it's like, and that's even before you throw a punch or kick. So you're thinking to yourself, hold on, if someone attacks you, how would you just go like this and then go like this? It's like you're tying yourself up. And then you start, one thing which I would say in everything in life, when you hit that zone where it's all slow motion, that's when the skill, what you've learned, comes out. So you go to the cupboard and the cup falls. And at first you go, and it drops, and you picture it in your head, and you go, next time, and you might and it drops again. But the next time, just out of nowhere, bang, you catch it. I'm ready for the nothingness. I'm ready. I'm sitting down with that nothing. So when it happens and I'm in the nothingness, I've got a better chance of coming out. So it's an art of that. It's about the stillness more than the movement, because moving is just showing up. Oh, I saw that. Most people say, I never even saw it. That to me is the illusion. So you become the best illusionist. Those who show you are not the illusionists. They're just sort of like saying, oh, look at me. It's the one has he done anything yet? No, he's just stood there. What do you mean he's just stood there? It should be sort of like, at least I should know if you can kick or punch or whatever. And that's what we've got at the moment. Everyone wants to see it. So that's the way, oh, I've arrived. For me, it was like, you ain't going to see it. Until it happens. Most people say, oh, do it again. But I can't do it the same way as that, because that same situation, that window open, ain't going to happen the same way. You understand what I mean? And so, expression, arts. That was it. I couldn't understand when I was growing up where the arts come, because I drew, I danced, I sang, not good, badly, but I tried to sing. It was a mixture of things. But when I understood, art's about creativity. It's not about destroying. It's like a slam the door. It's not that way. And that's how people fight. And then you go, oh, there's a madness there. You watch them. They're and they're like, and you go, oh, what? You should be worried because there is a madness there. Of course you should be worried. You understand what I mean? But realistically, as you know, what they're doing is trying to beat you down. Trying to make you go, oh, I can't. The true one just goes, has he done anything yet? No, he's not done anything. Is he kicked? No, he's not even kicked. But he's smoking, fighting. You understand what I mean? So, the magician in the arts are the ones. The ones like the Paul Daniels. The ones like Sugar Ray Leonard. You understand what I mean? So we're now moving into the next thing, which really is about the mind, which you can use the same way as me. All I need to do is put you in a position where you start sitting down, right? Look at the different chairs. But once we go in, it's only the stools where you've got to get up. The posture changes to be able to sit down. And it's like, oh, you know what I mean? But generally, it's where it is. You can sit down. And so we pass things on by learning. And if I can teach you that way without going, oh, well, you've done it wrong again, as most teachers will do, you understand what I mean? What happens when that happens? You put your head down and go, oh, I failed. You understand what I mean? And that's, unfortunately, I have to say, I believe it's a Victorian concept. You know, so you've got the males, you're beaten down, so you don't respond naturally. Yes, sir, no, sir, feedback, for sir, and you have no rights. That's not the way to teach. Teachers themselves have to learn to teach differently, to understand what warmth is, friendliness is. Oh, you know, I'm more superior than you. I could teach martial art that way. If my instructor taught me that way, there's no way I was going to be training. Because you've got to feel empathy at the same time. You've got to know where that student is coming from. Because we all have fear. You understand what I mean? We all feel that someone doesn't like us. Teaching needs to be the art. People want to be a teacher so they're the boss. People want to be an instructor because they're the boss. People want to be these powerful things because you know my name. And I'm going, wow. But where are they taking people? They're not looking after the old, they're not looking after the young, they're not looking after the mums and dads. It's just a selfish concept that I am. As I said, love Frank Bruno, love Mike Tyson. They had it all. Love Michael Jackson, had it all. Love Elvis Presley, had it all. But what happened? That's what gets me. What happened? If they had it all, why did they take stimulants? Which everyone Friday, Thursday, Saturday night, everyone's not being themselves. I need this to be myself. And if you watch every adult, you might as well go to a kid's playground and watch the kids play without the teacher there. You understand what I mean? So the force which we've got out there has to deal with adults who are now acting like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. You understand what I mean? And unfortunately, then we go, oh, I don't know what's wrong. I believe we're in I believe we're in the film. You know what I mean? If you look at it, it's like the Alfred Hitchcock film. During the day, the teacher and the headmaster are the most suitable, nicest people ever. Get it? The old ladies can go out, the kids can go and play and all the other stuff. So you've got to focus there at a certain part of time. But after a certain time, what happens? Get them in quickly. Because why? Who's coming out? The bogeyman's coming out. It's every day, 7 days a week we do this. And weekend it goes crazy because people got stabbed, this, that and the other. And this is just having a good night out. But if you believe in the zombies, that's what I look at. You know, on Friday night, and they're walking like this. I'm going, whoa, these are the real zombies. No one's mentioning it. Because what we're doing is letting off steam. So me kicking you or punching you on a Friday night, I'm just letting off steam. You know, the story of the king ain't wearing no clothes fits in. That to me is what it is. The king, and as I'm saying to most of my people, you know what they're saying to me? I'm not saying, oh, it's the way it is. Oh, you don't say anything. Well, come on now. We're not back in the day. And all the people back in the day fought for our rights to have rights. Across the line, whether it's mine, whatever. And now, we've got the rights, we don't say anything. We don't even say, that's wrong. We just turn our backs. And I think personally, turning your back, one day that person's going to come to you. So what happens then? Who's going to help you? So it's the point of what there's right and wrong ways of concepts. Our strongest thing that we have across the planet is word. We're not using it. All we need to say is no. And people say, I can't change my mind. Well, how hard is it to change your mind? That's what gets me. How hard is it to say, you know what, we need to police this because I've got grandchildren growing up, they are beautiful, lovely grandchildren. I have to worry about the streets. And that's because people won't change their minds. They just get, oh, it's the way it is, it's the way it is. Unfortunately, when it comes to your door, that's not the way you want it. So do not, you know what I mean? Don't perceive it as it's the way it is. There's right and wrong. Even the weather, look at what's happening with the planet. The water now is rising. We got no control over it. That's what I'm saying. It's like the body. We've got no control. We know what it's about. We've got no control. So I believe what we have to do is rethink, redevelop. The Victorian age where you couldn't say anything to the Queen or King or anything like that has now gone. The upper class and lower class has now gone. We're now connected to an internet. You imagine when my gran was alive, I'm telling her, oh, we've got an internet. She said, what? Wait, what do you mean an internet? She says, no, we can go on the internet and we can contact Germany and all those different places on this. She said, you're crazy. Now that's the Pandora's box, which when we're young, we're talked about. People tell us about the Pandora's box. Now we're living it. Because you can get good on it, but you definitely can get bad on it. And at a certain time, like I say, now it's dark. What happened? Then the baddies come out. So you've got to get your kids in, and you've got to get your grandma in. You've got to have those people who cannot defend themselves in. Then you've got packs of young lads with steroids. Get it? Testosterone going in through the bodies. Young girls, same thing. At this particular moment, it's only the feeling. They want that feeling. They don't want the common sense. They just want, that's what we live for. Martial arts helps us in more ways than one. But we as instructors need to look at our streets, not look at Thailand, not look at Japan. Because I love the place, but realistically, we're needed on the street. But we need it in an honest way. Don't look at me as, oh, Ronnie Green, 5 times world champion. Don't look at me as, oh, I am this, that, and the other. I have to take my sleeves up and work with everybody. It's just like the centre. As it does that, when it leaves out, you're looking after the old, you're looking after the young, you're looking after the mum and dad. There's a lot of pressure out there. And unfortunately, good people don't get rewarded. So it's like, oh, I could have said that. As I said, came from my side. You know what I mean? Being honest, I had a lot of problems growing up. But I never made those problems turn me to bad. And I think that's the main factor. I could blame. You know what I mean? I could have said, well, the police said this and that and the other, and that's why I did this and the other. I think there's a concept, and the martial arts people are there as role models, but I don't think, they're not looking there, they're looking here, they're looking outside, except the streets. Because what can we do on the street? Well, we can do a lot. We can talk in a respectful word. You know, that's the concept. These young guys will respect us, whatever we say. But I think we're not saying anything. We're just going, oh, well, I'm in my gym. It doesn't matter out there, but it does, because unfortunately, it could be our mums or our daughters or whatever. Because once they've got rid of the people they're not frightened of, then they're going to come to the people, because they're not frightened now, because I can only take one person in a fight. Get it? There's a gang of them. What's going to happen? Best me be their friends. You understand what I mean? If I'm their friends and advising them, going, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, I've got a better chance. You understand what I mean? So, as much as the martial arts has come from all these different countries, we're British. So I believe we need to sit there and go, right, this is how we apply our dojo concept, respect. While you're doing it, while everyone's doing it, it's about respect. And you know, don't you feel special? You know, you're in there and it's strangers, first time, you don't know them. But they're looking out for you as though you're a distant uncle or auntie, you've gone and travelled into their place. And it's the nicest place, the nicest feeling, and then all of a sudden you're protecting yourself, and you know it's like from being at school. If I point and kicked at the teacher, say, you can't do that in school, but now you get praised. What a great feeling. You understand what I mean? And I just think that's what us in the UK, come together, stop being false, and then apply it as I would class it as the martial way. I talk too much though.